We begin with Stanley Hill, a family man, returning from a job interview trip. His wife, Vivian, picks him up at the airport.
The real deal. I loved it.
They leave.
Does that mean you got the job?
I don't know, maybe.
And when they get to their car, they discover the tire is flat, so Stan opts to fix it. While he's at it, a beggar shows up asking for money.
Get in the car. Not today.
But Stan shoos him away, despite Vivian wanting to give him some.
Come on, man, she's about to give it to me.
Proving that even in a flat tire crisis, Stan's generosity is on permanent vacation. Suddenly, the man attacks Stan, smashing his head against the car and knocking him out, then stabs Vivian with a knife. Other men pull up and kick Stan several times before running off with Vivian's purse. Stan wakes up to find his wife on the ground, rushes to her, but realizes she has already passed away. Later that day, Detective Gilmore interrogates Stan about the incident. Then his partner, Walker, takes over. Walker asks Stan about the state of his relationship with Vivian before her death.
Mr. Hill, what was the state of it?
And Stan snaps at him. Days later, at Vivian's funeral, Stan arrives early and grieves for his wife. His daughter, Abby, tells him Vivian had been so eager for him to arrive from the airport, which is ironic, considering the welcome committee turned out to be a mugger with a knife.
I came for her, Lou.
As people begin arriving at the church, Stan prepares to leave, but a priest offers him a Bible. Stan refuses at first, saying he doesn't pray and only came to the church because of his wife.
Just say goodbye to Vivian.
Still, the priest urges him to take it, and Stan reluctantly accepts before leaving.
This tragedy in our state capital.
Meanwhile, reporters ask the state governor, Messerve, about Vivian's death. He shares his prayers for her family, but then uses her death as propaganda, reminding everyone to stay vigilant.
We promise swift justice for Vivian.
Stan watches the news and angrily vents his frustration while drinking. The Bible falls, and when Stan picks it up, he relates to a verse speaking of wrath he cannot hold in. Suddenly, his phone rings, and it's Abby checking on him. He assures her he's fine. She asks him to promise he won't blame himself for her mother's death.
Yeah, hey, you get some.
Stan makes no promise, instead wishing her goodnight before hanging up. Days later, detectives invite Stan to the station.
He's left.
And show him a lineup matching the sketch he described. Stan immediately identifies the culprit, and the police confirm several times that he's sure. After he leaves the room,
Appreciate it.
he sees the killer being granted bail. He challenges the cops, but they brush him off, saying there's no evidence.
You know what? You're right.
Angrily, Stan storms out. After he's gone, the officers discuss the case, noting the suspect is a member of Lemmy K's gang, and that they've put the case on ice. Stan later meets Abby at a coffee shop and tells her how the cops let her mother's killer go free, proving once again that justice here moves fast, just in the wrong direction. She gets mad and suggests he come home so they can talk, but he refuses and leaves. Back home, he grieves, then checks his closet, but stops, recalling Vivian's words about the big change he made for her long ago. Frustrated, Stan heads out, visiting the garage where Vivian was murdered, then roaming the town for her killer. He spots the man, rushes home, and breaks into his closet wall, pulling out a suitcase of ammunition. He calls his former colleague, Dennis, who apologizes about Vivian. Stan asks for names and visits Dennis's salon the next day. As soon as Dennis opens, Stan walks in and lights a cigarette from Dennis's table. Stealthily, Dennis attacks, but Stan stops him instinctively. As Dennis shaves him, they reminisce, but Dennis warns Stan not to be vengeful. They argue, and Dennis hands him a file on Vivian's killer and the others involved. As soon as Stan sees the name, he tells Dennis he's been dragged into it and heads out. That night, Stan drives to a bar in search of one of his targets, Nathan. He spots Nathan flirting with a woman and offering her Vivian's purse. Nathan notices Stan and smashes his drink with a pool ball to get his attention. Realizing who it is, Nathan bolts out the back. Stan chases him. Nathan fires at Stan, but Stan uses a door as a shield and keeps pursuing. Outside, Stan loses sight of him until Nathan ambushes him from behind, gun in hand. Stan quickly disarms him using martial arts, then interrogates him, asking if Vivian was targeted for her purse. Nathan says it's more than that, and is surprised Stan doesn't know the real reason. Stan demands Charlie Law's whereabouts, Vivian's murderer.
You really have no damn idea.
But Nathan refuses and taunts him. Suddenly, Dennis arrives and shoots Nathan. Shocked, Stan asks why he's there, but Dennis just helps dispose of the body. Neither of them notices a lackey taking photos before slipping away. In the car, Stan questions Dennis for dragging himself into this mess and asks how long he's been following him. Dennis explains he had to cover for him earlier and has been waiting for Stan to reach out since Vivian's murder. They search Nathan's properties, finding his broken cell phone and some hard drugs. At a strip club, the lackey reports Nathan's death to Lemmy K, showing him the photo. Lemmy, furious that the lackey didn't help Nathan,
Come on, man, what is this?
cuts off his ring finger and orders his men to hunt down Dennis and Stan and kill their families. Days later, Stan meets Abby at a restaurant. She's happy to see him finally eating. He tells her a friend is helping him get better, and with the way things are going in town, most of the thugs will soon be eradicated. Abby asks permission to move Vivian's things out of the house, and he agrees. During their conversation, Stan gets a message from Dennis,
Okay, I'll get the check.
so he leaves and goes to Dennis's shop. Dennis takes him to his basement and shows him a stash of ammunition. Stan then asks Dennis about the progress in recovering the data from Nathan's broken phone, and Dennis tells him it'll take a while. They do some shooting practice to help fix Stan's rusty aim, and afterward, Dennis asks what Stan plans to do once the killers are gone. He asks if Stan will return to his old life, but Stan says he'll think about it after taking their foes down.
Just saying, if you have, like, a life.
Dennis corrects him, saying there's never after. Stan finally opens up about wanting to go off the radar by traveling far away. Dennis confirms that Stan has insurance, so Abby won't have to struggle for money.
I think we got something.
The broken cell phone suddenly powers on, so they check it and call Lars. But someone else answers. They demand to speak to Charlie. Curious, the man asks for their identity, but they hang up. Afterward, Stan tells Dennis he's always wanted a tattoo, and heads to a tattoo shop.
I'm offering ample hot rocks for the rest.
Meanwhile, the detectives come across one of Lemmy K's men, who tells them his boss wants to see them. They head to the strip club, where Lemmy reminds them they're supposed to protect his gang. He shows them a tape of Governor Maserv's son, caught in a drug incident, and uses it to blackmail the cops. Unaware of this, Gilmore snaps at Lemmy for implying they haven't done enough to keep Charlie out of jail. Lemmy then mentions that someone is hunting his men. Gilmore says it's not his problem, but Lemmy orders them to do their job and find the culprits. After the meeting,
Detective Gilmore.
Gilmore calls Maserv and insists they meet immediately. They rendezvous in a secluded spot, and Gilmore briefs him about Lemmy's men being targeted and how his son's drug case could ruin him. Meanwhile, Stan goes to Lars's tattoo shop, but finds another man working there. The man asks if Stan knows Lars,
So, you know Lars?
and Stan makes
My
up a
daughter
story about
does,
his
though.
daughter knowing both Lars and Charlie. While tattooing Stan, the man secretly texts Lars about him. Lars replies, telling him to keep Stan busy until he arrives. During that time, Dennis returns to his shop to find it trashed. Charlie and two armed thugs are waiting for him. They threaten him, demanding Stan's name, but Dennis quickly tackles them and takes them out. He injures his leg in the process, and Charlie escapes. A few minutes later at the tattoo shop, Lars arrives and takes over from his colleague. He questions Stan about his family, and Stan tries to steer the conversation toward Charlie. Lars won't open up.
Charlie. Maybe.
After finishing Stan's wrath tattoo, Lars pulls a gun and threatens him, but Stan easily disarms and beats him. Under threat, Lars finally reveals Charlie's address. Stan kills him, drags his body away, and finds bundles of cash in Charlie's bag. He takes the money, calls Dennis, and together they dispose of the bodies at a car junkyard. Stan shows Dennis the bag of cash, warning that they won't go unnoticed with such an amount missing. Dennis tells him to be careful. Later that night, Stan drinks and remembers his moments with Vivian. The next day, he goes to the church and prays, asking to know when he should stop. Recalling how Charlie murdered Vivian, unexpectedly, the priest sits with him. Stan asks if losing Vivian was punishment for his past deeds, and wonders if he'll be damned.
For things I've done.
The priest shows him an image of one of the thieves crucified alongside Christ, explaining that the thief was saved
And yet, moments before his death,
and allowed into heaven, meaning Stan can be saved too. Moved and guilty, Stan confesses his sins. Meanwhile, Abby goes home with Mike to pack Vivian's belongings. She finds Stan's guns and hit list. She loads her mother's things into the car, but before they can leave, Charlie drives into the street and shoots at her, causing the car to crash into a nearby tree. Stan arrives soon after, and is relieved Abby is unharmed.
Oh my God.
Though Mike has been shot in the shoulder, he asks Abby if she saw the shooter, but she denies it. She then confronts him about the hit list, and asks if she's been targeted, but he reassures her nothing will happen to her.
My friend in the bureau tells me he used to be in a...
Elsewhere, Gilmore reports his findings on Stan to Meserve, who tells him to deal with it. He threatens Gilmore, but Gilmore reminds him he's not the only one with power. Meserve orders him to hire professionals to handle the matter, no matter the cost. Meanwhile, Lemmy gets a text saying Lars has been killed. He calls Charlie to ask about the money Lars was supposed to deliver.
Alright, you just chill, alright?
Charlie realizes he's in trouble, but promises to handle it. Right after, Stan contacts Charlie, telling him to show up alone if he wants his shipment. Charlie chooses the House of Soul as the meeting spot. Both men arm themselves and head to the location. Dennis goes to the bar and spots Charlie, texting him to meet in the VIP room. Charlie arrives and notices a man holding a bag, staring at him suspiciously, thinking it contains the cash. The man, uneasy, sends his bodyguard to keep Charlie in check. As the two men stare each other down, Stan enters the VIP room. The guard tells him to leave. Tension builds, and the man with the bag shoots at Stan. Stan uses the guard as a shield and returns fire, killing the man. The bodyguard shoots, but Stan kills him too. Charlie fires as well, but Stan ducks and shoots back, forcing Charlie to hide behind a table. Stan orders everyone to stay down, walks up to Charlie, and points his gun at him.
It wasn't an accident that I met you, was it?
Demanding to know who ordered Vivian's murder. With no way out, Charlie admits it was Lemmy K, but won't say why. Instead, he says it's not his fault that Vivian was too nosy. At that same time, professional gunmen enter the club. Dennis, who has been keeping track of how long the interrogation should take, tells Stan it's time to go. Stan shoots Charlie, and as they leave, they encounter the gunmen and swiftly take them down. The cops arrive at the club, but Stan and Dennis have already slipped away. Later in Dennis's basement, Stan asks about Lemmy K.
Some Armenian douchebag out of Detroit.
Dennis tells him everything he knows, calling Lemmy a douchebag who took over the state's drug trade. Dennis advises Stan to back down now that the men who killed Vivian are gone, but Stan refuses. The next day, Abby and Jenna pack Jimmy's things, preparing to stay at a hotel for a while. Meanwhile, Stan goes through Vivian's belongings and finds a file showing she'd been asked to revise numbers for the governor. He recalls Vivian telling him things hadn't gone well with her boss, so he checks her phone and listens to her voicemails. One is from her boss, Glenn, asking her to revise the numbers, confirming Stan's suspicion.
Here.
Elsewhere, as Abby prepares to leave, Lemmy K arrives with his thugs and demands to see Stan. When he realizes Stan isn't there, he orders Abby to call him. She heads to the kitchen to grab her phone, with a thug following her. Meanwhile, Lemmy intimidates Jimmy, making the boy scream. Distracted, the thug at the door lets his guard down, and Abby stabs him with a kitchen knife, proving that in this family, even the appetizers can kill you. Lemmy tries to shoot her, but Jenna jumps at him, throwing off his aim. He fires again and hits Jenna, Enraged, he smacks Abby across the face
Your father. I want him here.
and orders her to get Stan there. She texts him, saying Joey is sick and he should come home. As soon as Stan reads the message, he arms himself and rushes out. He calls Dennis, explaining something's wrong. Abby never texts him, and in the message, she called Jimmy by the wrong name. Dennis asks for the address, and Stan forwards it. Stan arrives at Abby's home and peeks through the window to check on her and Jimmy. He then breaks in through the basement window and stealthily moves through the house, shooting the thug guarding the room. Lemmy appears, holding Abby hostage, and orders Stan to drop his gun. Stan complies, telling Lemmy he wants to kill him. He shifts to the side. Dennis shoots Lemmy in the shoulder from outside. The last of Lemmy's thugs hears the gunshot and searches for Dennis. Spotting him from a distance, he shoots Dennis, who tumbles down the stairs. Inside, Stan attacks Lemmy, kicking him hard, then frees Abby and tells her to take Jimmy upstairs. Outside, the guard checks on Dennis, but Dennis surprises him with a bullet. Back inside, Stan demands to know who's behind Vivian's death. Lemmy says it goes all the way to the top. Stan presses him about the governor, but before he can answer, Gilmore shows up and shoots Lemmy in the head. Gilmore tries to convince Stan to cooperate, but Stan refuses. Walker then appears with a gun, confident they have Stan cornered, until Dennis knocks Walker out from behind. Realizing he's trapped, Gilmore begs for mercy. They handcuff Gilmore and force him to drive to the governor's estate.
Figure this is gonna play out for you, Mr. Hill.
On the way, Stan learns that Gilmore protected Lemmy because Lemmy had video of Meserve's son with a minor who overdosed on drugs. They covered for each other. As they near the villa, Stan orders Gilmore to hide the cuffs. Gilmore obeys, but when they see the doubled security, he offers to talk to Meserve on Stan's behalf. Stan knocks him out instead. When Gilmore regains consciousness, he sees all the guards dead. Realizing too late that the car is rigged to explode, he struggles to free himself, but the cuffs hold. Walker, locked in the trunk, finally escapes just before the vehicle explodes. Meanwhile, Stan eliminates the remaining guards and storms inside. Meserve shoots him, disarms him, and taunts him, confirming he knows Stan was Black Ops. He asks if there are more like him, but Stan denies it. Meserve admits he killed Vivian because she refused to cover up a report. Stan says he's made sure everyone knows about it. Agitated, Meserve moves in to finish him, but Stan swats the gun aside and stabs him with the knife hidden in his boot. As Meserve collapses, he asks who Stan is. Stan replies, "I'm Wrath." He walks out of the office, where officers surround him. They order him to drop his weapon, but he points it at them, prompting them to open fire. They remove his bulletproof vest and rush him to the hospital. 3 days later, Abby visits, but police won't let her in, saying Stan will be tried in a fiscal court without access to lawyers. She pushes past them, hugs her unconscious father, tells him she loves him, and slips something into his side before leaving. Later, during a shift change, Walker, disguised as an officer, enters Stan's room. He removes his cap, pulls a gun,
It's time to settle the score for what you did to me and my partner.
and asks what's on Stan's mind. Stan says he's thinking about his family, then pulls out the gun Abby had left him, and Walker is shocked to the grave. 2 shots ring out. Dennis emerges from behind a curtain, dressed as a doctor, claiming he got the kill. They bicker about who fired first. Then Dennis gives Stan clothes and tells him they have 3 minutes. Within that time, Dennis wheels Stan out of the hospital, and they plan their getaway to Sao Paulo. Months later, Stan sends Abby a letter, telling her he's safe thanks to her, and sends his love to her family. The end. Thank you for sticking to the end of my video. Please do me the biggest favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.